KPBS On Demand is supported by Latino Legacy Foundation, presenting their Storyteller series, Reach for the Stars with Ellen Ochoa, the first Latina astronaut, former NASA director, and San Diego native. Sunday, June 29th. More at latinolegacyfoundation.org.
Good morning, I'm Debbie Cruz. It's Friday, February 16th. 100 new affordable apartments are being built in Rancho Bernardo. More on that next. But first, let's do the headlines. Tomorrow, the USS John L. Kennedy will become the 6th Expeditionary Sea Base in the Navy at a commissioning ceremony in Coronado. The ship has a large flat top. Ship Commanding Officer Captain Thomas Mays says these new types of expeditionary ships offer a level of flexibility other amphibious ships don't.
We have the third largest flight deck in the U.S. Navy, 52,500 square feet. And we have 4 large helicopter landing spots, so I can do simultaneous MH-53 or V-22 operations in all 4 of those spots.
The ship will be the staging point for helicopter minesweeping missions and special operations with Marines or Navy SEALs. The ship will be ready to deploy to the Western Pacific as soon as this summer. This weekend's weather is going to be similar to what we felt this week, but that won't last long. Alex Tardy is a warning coordination meteorologist for the National Weather Service in San Diego County.
So we are looking at still nice weather this weekend. More clouds, however. We might even see a sprinkle Saturday night, but we're looking at more clouds coming in because there's a big Pacific storm sitting off the coast in the Eastern Pacific. So the good news is that the brunt of that doesn't come in until Monday, the holiday.
Tardy says high surf with waves reaching up to 10 feet is expected tomorrow, with waves peaking on Sunday. And just a heads up, all county offices, public health clinics, family resource centers, libraries, and animal shelters will be closed Monday for President's Day. But county parks, campgrounds, and neighborhood day use parks will be open. Essential services, including law enforcement and emergency animal control, will be available through the holiday. And for the City of San Diego, administrative offices, libraries, swimming pools, and recreation centers will also be closed for the holiday. All county and San Diego City offices will resume normal business hours on Tuesday. From KPBS, you're listening to San Diego News Now. Stay with me for more of the local news you need.
KPBS On Demand is supported by Splatero, helping homeowners pay for home improvements by offering streamlined access to your home's equity with no additional monthly payments or new debt. Splatero provides a lump sum payment in exchange for a share of your home's future value. Pre-qualification available at splatero.com.
Transit-oriented development is coming to Rancho Bernardo, with 100 units priced for families and people with lower incomes. Reporter Jacob Ayer was at yesterday's groundbreaking.
Leaders from across the city and county of San Diego came together to mark the beginning of construction for a transit-oriented affordable housing development called Skyline. The Metropolitan Transit System and Affirmed Housing are the 2 organizations overseeing the project. Jimmy Silverwood is president of Affirmed Housing, whose company is developing the 100-unit complex.
50% of those units will be 2- and 3-bedroom apartments, and the other 50% will be, I think we have some studios, but mostly 1-bedrooms.
The Skyline project will also offer non-residential office space and dozens of parking spots. The developer expects to finish construction in spring 2026. Affirmed Housing estimates that rents will range from about $700 to $1,750 a month, depending on the size of each apartment. Jacob Ayer, KPBS News.
We're continuing to bring you information on some of the local races on the primary ballot. Today we learn about the 5 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives. Environment reporter Eric Anderson says only one race is expected to be competitive.
Mike Levin has had the closest contest since he became a member of the San Diego congressional delegation in 2018. He hopes to win re-election in the 49th district so he can help with the environment, reproductive rights, and protecting democracy, among other things. Levin has 4 primary challengers. Margarita Wilkinson, Matt Gunderson, Kate Monroe, and Cheryl Adams. There are about 15,000 more registered Democrats than registered Republicans in the district. The rest of the congressional delegation is expected to remain as is. UCSD political science professor Thad Kauser says the 3 Democrats in the House of Representatives, Juan Vargas in the 52nd, Sarah Jacobs in the 51st, and Scott Peters in the 50th district, are all considered safe seats for the incumbents.
San Diego has become a blue area, just like the state has become a deep blue state. And now 4 of those congressional districts are captured by Democrats.
Darrell Issa is the Republican holdout. He's running to represent the 48th district again. The top 2 vote-getters in each of the March primary races move on to a runoff election in November. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
The obesity epidemic has taught us a lot about human metabolism, such as the increased difficulty of losing weight among overweight people. SciTech reporter Thomas Fudge says San Diego scientists have discovered one reason for this, and it holds the promise of future treatment.
Researchers at UC San Diego were looking at the ways that cells store and burn energy. They hypothesized that shutting down a molecule called RAL-A in lab mice would cause their cells to burn less energy, therefore store more fat and gain more weight. It was done in the lab of medical professor Alan Saltiel.
So when we made the mice and looked at them, we saw something that was kind of shocking. We saw the opposite effect.
They found those mice became much more efficient at burning fat and controlling weight.
We put these mice on high-fat diet for a long time, and we noticed that they didn't gain weight.
It turns out that RAL-A, in its natural state, was helping the body store fat. The human body is very good at protecting fat stores, especially in people who are very overweight. But in mice, at least, inhibiting the work of the RAL-A molecule seemed to reverse that process. Could it work in humans? Saltiel says his lab has started experiments using human tissues and cells. Thomas Fudge, KPBS News.
We all know February as the month of love and hearts. Valentine's Day was this week, and the month also happens to be American Heart Month. Well, there's an event in full swing to make sure we stay on top of our heart health. The Love Your Heart event is happening through the end of the month. It encourages San Diegans to get their blood pressure checked with free blood pressure screenings. Joining me to talk about heart health and the event is the president of the American Heart Association San Diego and Southwest Riverside Division, Dr. Ramon Hernandez. Dr. Hernandez, welcome to the San Diego News Now podcast.
Thank you so much, Debbie. So happy to be here with you.
Before we start talking about heart health and how it's being promoted this month, can you tell me what are some leading causes of heart disease?
Yes. So one of the things that we definitely need to talk about that are preventative when we're talking about heart disease is we have to look at our numbers. That's an important area. You know, we're looking at cholesterol, we're looking at blood sugar, and we're definitely looking at how to manage our blood pressure. And some of the factors that go into that are how we eat, if we smoke, how active we are, and definitely about our sleep patterns. And so for us at the American Heart Association, we really look at those things as our essential 8 of 4 behaviors: eating better, being more active, quitting tobacco, and getting good night's sleep as the 4 behaviors. And 4 things to keep a check on are definitely our weight, our cholesterol numbers, our blood sugar numbers, and our blood pressure.
How common is heart disease among Americans and specifically San Diegans?
Unfortunately, I mean, heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States. And here in our own county in San Diego, it's the 2nd leading cause of death. In 2022, about 5,000 people died in San Diego County from heart disease. And the leading cause, and this is the part about being preventative in this work, is our high blood pressure.
So how does an event like the annual Love Your Heart event play a role in early detection or even preventing heart disease?
You know, this is an event that's across the entire county. It's also binational. And it's about really educating our community members to better understand the role that of getting control of our blood pressure by understanding the numbers. And so by being in community at a lot of different community sites across the county, we are making that accessible to many of our residents so that they at least begin to understand the importance of monitoring their blood pressure, getting their blood pressure checked at least once a year. And then if they find that their blood pressure is elevated, that they are connected to a healthcare provider and talk to their healthcare team on how to monitor and how to treat their high blood pressure.
So what is a normal blood pressure reading?
So a normal blood pressure, we can say that an average is around 120 over 80. Many people hear that sort of, those terms of one number, the systolic, over another, the diastolic, and that's the 120 over 80. It's different for every person based on a lot of different factors. Those can be underlying chronic diseases, lifestyle, other medications that the person may be on. So it's best to really speak with their healthcare provider as to what the right blood pressure is for that person.
Are there any home remedies that you can do to reduce your blood pressure when it gets elevated?
I would say that around home remedies, I'd come back to, really looking at our diets to make sure that, that we're eating whole foods and fruits and vegetables, things that we hear a lot in the news about things that we need to improve upon, but they really do make a big impact on our high blood pressure. And definitely just that whole piece around, going for a walk every day if you can, really makes another impact. For us in American Heart Association, we added the piece around healthy sleep because we know that there's connections between our sleep patterns, how much sleep we get, and also our blood pressure. And so I think that those removing things like alcohol, high fat foods, high sugar foods, those are all good things that we can do in our home to make sure that we're participating in our heart health.
Let's talk more about the event. How can people participate?
So they can participate in many ways. This is a binational event. So this is happening here across San Diego County, but it's also happening in partnership with the U.S.-Mexico Border Health Commission and their Ventanillas for Salud, the Windows for Health. So they can Google, for example, Love Your Heart. And there's a really cool map that's available that based on the neighborhood that you're in, where they can go and get their blood pressure checked. So, for example, I live in Imperial Beach, and I did this yesterday. Today I could go to one of our local markets, the Northgate Gonzalez Market, and there's an event happening there for Love Your Heart. And then this Saturday, we have our farmers market with Suncoast Market at Veterans Park. And that's being done with another great partner, Sharp Health. And so people can go by there. And all the county libraries are also doing what we're calling, that you can read your beat. And so that there are opportunities at the county libraries where there are blood pressure monitors and people can take their blood pressure at the county library. So there's different access points and it's a lot of different ways, but we want to make sure that the idea of getting your blood pressure checked is something that's accessible and it becomes part of people's behavior.
I've been speaking with the president of the American Heart Association San Diego and Southwest Riverside Division, Dr. Ramon Hernandez. Dr. Hernandez, thank you for joining me on the San Diego News Now podcast.
Thank you so much, Debbie. You take care.
That's it for the podcast today. This podcast is produced by Emmeline Mohebi and edited by Brooke Ruth. We'd like to thank our colleagues Eric Anderson and Laura McCaffrey for helping the podcast team this week. As always, you can find more San Diego news online at kpbs.org. Join us again on Monday to start the week together with the day's top stories, plus more. I'm Debbie Cruz. Thanks for listening, and have a great weekend.
KPBS On Demand is supported by Latino Legacy Foundation, presenting their Storyteller series, Reach for the Stars with Ellen Ochoa, the first Latina astronaut, former NASA director, and San Diego native, Sunday, June 29th. More at latinolegacyfoundation.org.